Hello, hello. Your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please settle down. You are requested to please settle down. We are going to start the program. And kindly switch off your mobile phones or put them on silent mode. The program is going to start. Please settle down. May I request all to please settle down. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please settle down. Please settle down. What a reception. His Holiness brings peace and happiness wherever he goes. To start the afternoon, I wish to call on the stage Mrs. Reena Chibber to welcome our honored guest. Mrs. Reena Chibber, and could you kindly bring Akshita with you, who will welcome His Holiness on behalf of all the children who are gathered here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'll start the proceedings now. A small introduction from my side. Since the advent of man on this planet, he has been on a constant quest for that supreme being who made him and with which he wishes to reunite himself. And in that quest, man has sought two chosen paths. One scientific and the other religious. As far as the scientific side is concerned, this particular avenue, the scientists have proved to be going ahead pretty fast. For instance, deep down in the Alps, in the Swiss mountains, they set up the collider with which they discovered the Higgs boson or God's particle, and they are proceeding further. On the religious side, we have our scriptures in all religions which point to complete faith in some power above. Both these, although in competition, have never been inimical, and there has always been a convergence in views. For instance, the top scientists of the world may well be deeply religious, and to that extent, both work in tandem. And I just wish to show you a small quote from Dan Brown, which says, "Science and religion are partners using two different languages to tell the same story, and all man is seeking is happiness." And to this end, we are indeed extremely fortunate that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is here with us today to lead us through these complex channels and tell us what actual facts are. Now, we are really fortunate because His Holiness is a Nobel laureate for peace. He is the 14th Dalai Lama reincarnate. He has traveled some 67 countries, spanning 6 continents, authored, co-authored some 110 books, and has received awards and prizes to the tune of 150 of them. In addition to this, he has, in the mid-80s, begun, as I mentioned to you earlier, to get onto the scientific side also, thereby having interlogues with leading scientists around the world on psychology, neurobiology, cosmology, and quantum physics. So with this vast gathering of knowledge, in the mid-80s, what His Holiness did was to get Buddhist monks to team up with the scientists and evolve a path for human happiness. A path for human happiness. The path to human happiness is paved with good intentions, including ethics. Your Holiness, I speak for every member sitting in this congregation. We are a very happy GymKhana family. We love this club of ours. This is our second home. Your Holiness, I will request you to bless this congregation, to bless our second home, and give us all happiness, even as you discuss the very important subject of ethics and happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Brothers and sisters, I really feel great honor to share some of my thought or my own experience with quite big number of human brothers sisters. And that person who introduced me, when I saw the program, the General Upan, then I felt, oh, in 60s, 70s, one Major General Upan, my great friend, he no more. Now, another General Upan. Then I understand this person is his son. So I really feel almost, you see, meeting, you see, that late General Upan, great friend of mine and also great friend of Tibet. He really showing his, not only sympathy or concern, but also commitment, really. So I am extremely happy, on some kind of reunion. So I really feel very happy. Now then, Firstly, you mentioned about science and religions. The previous Pope, I usually call German Pope. I can't remember, the individual names. Sometimes it's difficult to pronounce. So I simply say Polish Jew, Polish Pope, Italian Pope, now Argentina Pope, like that. So the German Pope once, mentioned religion and reason should go together. So that, more or less, mentioned. Science means investigate, experiment. So reason is the way, the scientific sort of the research. So then, it is very true. Faith, religion, give us self-confidence and inner peace. Then science helping our brain further develop. So in order to carry meaningful life, combination, warm heartedness here and brilliant brain must together. So naturally, science and spirituality, I think we human beings need both. Then among different religious traditions, I think in this country, or I think the two groups, theistic and non-theistic religion. Theistic religion may be first Zoroastrian from Iran, and then Judaism, Christianity, Islam. In India, I think more or less same sort of period, about 3,000 years ago, the Sangha philosophy. Later Sangha philosophy, Sangha tradition developed two groups. One accept creator. One do not accept or no concept of creator. Then Jainism, also no concept of creator. Then Buddhism, also no concept of creator. But rather, we ourselves as a creator. So self-creation. That is these three ancient Indian traditions. Then particularly, the Buddhism in general, and particularly Nalanda tradition. It's a very much emphasis reasoning, research. On the basis of one Buddha's quotation, "O my follower, monks, scholars should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of devotion, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." So about 40 years ago, when I began to feel or begin to develop keen desire, meeting with scientists and discuss with scientists, mainly to learn the scientific sort of findings, cosmology, neurobiology, then physics, particularly quantum physics, then psychology. So I used to read as much as I can about the astronomy, astronomy. So at that time, I'm quite sort of full of knowledge about distance from here to moon, to sun, then Mars, Venus, Stern, all these, and the distance, the whole galaxies, the Milky Way, Milky Way galaxies, like that. Now these numbers now not recorded well here. So I really, have keen sort of interest. So then I express one my friend, one European, one American. That person at that time, accept Buddhism as it is a personal religion. So then I express, I want to meet scientists, have some serious discussions. Then that person, respond to me, oh, be careful. Science is killer of religion. Then I reflect that Buddha's quotation, you should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of devotion, but rather thorough investigation. So then I start, contact with scientists, mainly in these 4 fields. And now 30 years passed. In fact, eventually we set up one organization which now called Mind Life Institution. So almost annually, now these sort of some kind of research combinedly, I usually call Buddhist science and modern science. More precise, Buddhist science is a lot of sort of knowledge or investigation about mind, emotion, and the whole system of mind. The modern science mainly is a physical world. Combine these two, very helpful to enriching both sides. Modern scientists, after years of sort of discussion, many scientists, like quite well known Richard Davidson and some other, they really finds the knowledge from Nalendra Master's writing about mind, about emotion, they found very, very useful, very helpful. To us, they are finding, including Big Bang Theory, all these, and subatomic sort of very subtle particle, quarks, quark number 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So, and very, very sort of interesting, not only interesting, but very helpful. Although some Buddhist literature mentioned about the cosmic thing. But compare modern, a little backward. So, one casualty, I think 1,000 years, we Buddhist, Tibetan, and Chinese, and Korean, many other believe world is flat. In the center, Mount Meru, and the sun and the moon, same level, go around that way. So now I no longer believe that. So I sort of express publicly, particularly in the monastic institution, over 10,000 monk students and nuns also. I publicly express, now I am Buddhist, but no longer believe these things. So some older sort of scholars, they still feel, oh, that's, they may not be correct. Yeah. You know, one time, the moon landing, actually some pictures there. So I show some scholars, some monk scholar. Now actually we, human being, landed on moon. Moon looks like desert and some rocks. Then that person responded to me, oh, maybe some part of Mount Meru. Not moon, Mount Meru, like that. So still, is that kind of thinking still there? Of course, understandable. 1,000 years we use that kind of concept. So then some interesting thing is the physics, quantum physics. It's very much similar. One of the important theory of Nalanda tradition. Of course, originally come from Buddha's own sort of teaching. Things are empty, shunyata. So one time, one Indian great physicist, nuclear physicist, his name was Rajaramana, now no longer. So one time in New Delhi, some sort of meeting, some gathering, he mentioned to me, he found the concept of quantum physics in Nagarjuna's text, which wrote 2,000 years ago. So as an Indian, he feels very proud. Quantum physics in the world is something new concept. But in this country, 2,000 years ago, already developed that concept. So, then you see, many occasions you should discuss with quantum physicists. You see that, to my practice, that's very helpful. The Buddhist concept, or the Madhyamika philosophy concept, nothing exists by objectively. Appearance things exist objectively. But if we investigate, we can't find any reality from the object side. Nothing. So that the quantum physics is really bring more conviction for my practice. Of course, differences to scientists, this is just so new finding. And sort of the kasure, intellectual knowledge. Buddhists, you see, that understanding, nothing objectively exists. You see, that knowledge help to reduce our sort of sense of grasping things independently exist. So then negative thing also exists objectively. independently, absolutely. A nice thing also, you see, exists that way. So, that kind of sort of also the view, really, also the acting like grounds of, also the anger and attachment. So, Buddhist philosopher, you see, use that understanding to reduce intensity of anger and attachment. So I, as a student of Nalanda tradition, now quantum physics, concept of quantum physics also I utilize in order to tackle these destructive emotions. So, some of these scientists, particularly quantum physicists, I may say my guru. Good, very good. so these, I found something very useful. Then scientists, as I mentioned earlier, you see, they really found useful information about the structure of destructive emotion and how to tackle these destructive emotions. So medical scientists are now really showing, you see, for health matter, you see, they now showing, not only showing interest, but also they carry some experiment. They found very useful sort of result like that. So 30 years ago, when I developed interest about, you see, dialogue with science, modern science, you see, mainly my own sort of curiosity. But then eventually I found, oh, that is very useful, very helpful. So then I asked some students, mainly monk students, you see, to participate our meeting. Then gradually we selected students. You see, they carry some sort of, what's a lesson about modern science. Now, since 2-3 years, since I think about 3 years, we formally decided in our monastic institution in mainly South India, their final sort of, what's the examination should include science subject. And they already, many of the colleges of monastic institution, they already started, you see, what's the lesson, science. Not all monks, not all students, but one section we already started. So that is not only just mere interest, combination, science and spirituality, but actually now we formally decided, now in our study, science should include, like that. So now I want to tell you, all our knowledge come from India. Not Tibetan, ancient Tibetan themselves sort of found these things. One great Tibetan scholar, 14th, 15th century, you see, that master expressed, Tibet, land of snow. So nature color of snow is white, bright. Then he mentioned, however, till light from India reach that land still dark. Only after light from India reach there, then Tibet become bright. he mentioned that. That's very true. So usually I expressing, you Indian, historically our guru, we are chela. Then I add, we are not only your chela, but also quite reliable chela. That means in Guru's own land, these knowledge somehow not much there. So over 1,000 years, we as a good chela, we really kept with this knowledge. So now I really happy when I give talk within this country. You see, more and more people now really showing interest, and particularly the younger generation. So I always remind them, this country, over 1,000 years, very, very rich knowledge about human emotion, human mind, and including quantum physics. Now this should not forget or should not neglect these things. This is your own treasure. You must pay more attention while you're too busy about modern technology, modern facilities. It's good. But meantime, you should not neglect about this ancient your knowledge. So this moment, perhaps unfortunately, Guru relying Chela's knowledge. Now, this must change. Guru yourself must pay more attention about these ancient Indian knowledge. Then these are not only some wonderful knowledge of this country, but these are very relevant to today's world. Many people feel, passing through some kind of moral crisis. Even religious faith now causing violence. So this clearly shows we are lacking moral principle. And moral principle, in order to keep moral principle relying totally on religious belief, then today's world, out of 7 billion, about 1 billion non-believer. Then there is no way, you see, to try to, understanding about usefulness of moral ethics. Only secular way. So this country, again, over 3,000 years, you already developed concept of secular. So your modern India's constitution itself based on secularism. Because at that time, India already multi-religious nation. So secular is very fit according to that reality. So therefore, when we look humanity, there are so many non-believers. So therefore, you see, we must pursue promotion of ethics through secular way. According to Indian understanding, secular means respect all religion and also respect non-believer. That is something very wonderful and very relevant to today's world. Whereas in West, some my friends, they feel secular means something disrespects religion. But according here, your understanding, not that. Respect all religion, no preference this religion or that religion, but respect all religion. And also something remarkable is respect of non-believer. Wonderful. Consider as a human being. So they also right to keep their non-believing. Okay, no problem. so long they should not create trouble. And then okay. And then even among the believers also, some people, you see, create more problem with faith. So I think the secular ethics really, I think now world needs that. So you can make, I think, significant contribution for better world. I usually call 20th century become century of bloodshed. And immense sort of violence, including use 2 nuclear bombs. And some historians say, in 20th century, over 200 millions of people killed through violence. That immense violence, immense suffering, really brought better world. Then some people may justify, but that's not the case. So therefore, the beginning of 21st century, you see some unhealthy things there, including religious sort of conflict. These are, I believe, symptom of or result of past mistake or negligence. In 20th century, you see, the concerned people, you see, really feel weapon, military force can decide things. So, in some extent, you see, they've done that. So people, I think, some kind of sort of, also the habit, when we face some problem, then firstly think weapon. So now that must change. When we face problem, disagreement, we must realize the other also part of humanity. Actually our brothers, sisters, even so-called these terrorists, also brothers, sisters. When they born, when they are young, like any other human being, they're nurtured by parents' affection and mother's milk. All same. Later, eventually, because of certain circumstances, then destructive emotion become out of control. Otherwise, same human being. So we really need sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. So, see, the secular concept, I think, very, very relevant to today's world. Then here, the existing modern education, very much oriented about material value. So generation, if may I say so, the Indian generation who come through that kind of education, your way of life also materialistic life, isn't it? So this means corruption. Corruption mainly for money. So therefore, you see, the real answer to build healthy society, healthy family, not depend on wealth, not depend on power, but depend inner values. Clear realization of inner value. That is love, compassion. That is there automatically tolerance, forgiveness. These things come. Then self-discipline come. That's the way to tackle our destructive emotion. So destructive emotion cannot destroy by weapon, but use our wisdom. So in order to develop our wisdom, healthy way, we need education about inner value. So we are working last few years, you say, in secular education, we should include some kind of education about moral ethics, entirely, strictly based on secular. That we are working. I think within few years, I think one or 2 years, I think it could be available. Then actually in America, we'd have some scientists, some educationists, as an experiment, a pilot project, already you see carrying some sort of experiment. Result, very good. So more and more people now showing interest there. Now like West Canada, the British Columbia, Vancouver, you see last I think one year, more than 1 year, some school, you see carrying this program as an experiment. Now result is quite convincing. So now recently the state government now formally decided all school in British Columbia should include moral teaching in secular education field. So I think actually India should be first one. Now India already now become second. They already sort of implement that. So like that. So that's my commitment. And then the slogan, the topic, ethics and happiness. Actually, I believe, and also through experiment, it becomes clear. Ethics, truthful, honest, brings transparent. Transparent brings trust. Trust brings friendship. So we are a social animal. Friendship very important. So when we have a lot of friends, then happiness automatically comes there. If our life, you see, carrying some strange way, people develop, surrounding people develop some kind of suspicion, distrust. Then no longer any possibility of friendship. Then no matter how rich, how powerful, deep inside lonely feeling, will not be a happy person. So happiness very much related with moral ethics. So I feel that sometimes the people, ethics something for next life. And then happiness, this life, not that case. This very life, day-to-day life, more ethical way of life. You see, your physical action, verbal action, more compassionate way, you get the good result of peace, self-confidence, inner strength. That automatically reduces fear and reduce stress, anxiety. So you can build peaceful mind. Peaceful mind, we can describe healthy mind. Healthy mind brings healthy body. I think to some extent, as a result of my own sort of practice. So I think my physical, except my knees, so that gives me some problem. My practice of compassion, not much effect here. But as far as peace of mind is concerned, my practice of love is really immense effect. So we are same human being. You should not consider me as something special person. Don't feel that way. If you feel Dalai Lama is something special, then you can't learn from my experience. You say, oh, Dalai Lama is something exception. If you consider me as another human brother, then you can learn from my experience, isn't it? To myself also, I always look you as a human brothers, sisters, and myself also consider one of you, one of 7 billion human beings. I'm nothing special. So that gives me sort of close feeling with you. Wherever I talk, I always consider, same human being, same right, and also same emotion. Sometimes my emotion creates some problem in me. So I have to struggle. You also have the problem of this emotion. So if we consider we are same potential, then we can sort of exchange different experiences. I myself also feel much happier if I consider I am something special. I am reincarnation of our Lokiteshvara. If I myself consider something important like His Holiness 14th Dalai Lama, then on this world, Dalai Lama only one. So therefore, that feeling, that sort of, that thinking really makes myself lonely person. Isn't it? When I think I'm another human being, we are same, then immediately you say, I feel, I have plenty of brothers, sisters, 7 billion. If I too much insist I'm special, then result, I feel lonely person. So it is foolish. For my own interest, I deliberately emphasize I am just a human being. Like that. So that's about my talk. Now some questions. Someone arrange some microphone?
Your Holiness, you can sit and
I know. I will sit.
They have microphone.
But question is.
They have got.
Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, as is our practice in our famous knowledge club, we shall now have a question answer session. Ma'am, I'll request you. Please sir. There'll be a lot of questions that come up one by one. We've got our people here who will give the mics to you. May I start from one side? Any questions from this side? Yes, sir. The mic will come to you.
Your Holiness, we are blessed to see you here. My very small question is, the religion, the religion,
Yes, they can hear Your Holiness. They can hear.
the religion as you explained, and the scientific temperament. The basis of scientific temperament is questioning. The established religion doesn't allow us to question whether it is the resuscitation of Christ or the existence of millions of gods for Hindu or the Valhalla or the concept of hell in Islam. So how do these two things combine? Sir, I have a small question. Sir, you had at one time said that communism is a very suitable concept. You had spoken about communism being a suitable concept for the mankind. The same communism which is being practiced in China is suppressing Tibet. So how those two things are explained? Thank you.
Yes. You see, theistic religion, whatever scripture says, you should believe that. However, you see, the German Pope, as I mentioned earlier, he emphasizes faith and reason must go together. So you see some new thinkings seems to be coming. But then non-theistic religion, particularly Nalanda tradition, for example, like Nagarjuna, reject some Buddha's own teaching. Reason, he point out, if you accept Buddha's teaching, one particular teaching, then it goes against reason. So we have the liberty to reject Buddha's own teaching. So that's, as I mentioned earlier. So you see, there are some differences. But then, you see, up to individual mental disposition. Some people, it's a single faith towards God. And whatever scripture mentioned, follow. It's wonderful. No need complicated sort of philosophy or complicated sort of thinking. So therefore, on this planet, as I mentioned earlier, see, time passes, different area, different time. You see, these great, founder, great founders of different traditions, you see, come. So it still works. Not only few individuals, but millions of people. Christian, about billion. Islam follower, Muslim, also about billion. The Hindu, I think maybe 60, 70 millions. 600, 700 millions. Buddhist, I think a little less. Now in China, Buddhist population rapidly increasing. Now today, Buddhist population in China about 400 millions. So like that. So some people, according to their different mental disposition, you see, to some people, you see, single faith is more useful. To some people, investigation more helpful. So that's up to individual. No contradiction, no problem. Within Buddhism, you see, Buddha taught different philosophy among his own disciples. These different philosophy itself contradictory. Then why Buddha taught contradictory philosophy to his own disciples? Reason is simple. Among his followers, there are different people who have different mental disposition. So to some people, certain philosophical view is more suitable. So he taught that. Sometimes I jokingly telling, these contradictory philosophy come from same teacher, not due to his own confusion. Buddha confused. So one day to one group he taught something. The next day another group different, not due to his own confusion. No, he deliberately tried to create more confusion among his followers. No. Buddha enlightened person. So knows. So he deliberately taught different sort of contradictory philosophy because of suitability to his particular sort of audience, like that. So what we learned from that is we must respect all different major world traditions. Because there are, people who have different mental disposition, like that. So that is the basis of religious harmony. That also one very good sort of tradition of India. This country, almost all major world religious followers live together. Occasionally some problem here and there, but that's understandable. If over a billion human population, no one mischievous, then not a human, not a human, a human country there must be some mischievous. So therefore, that's understandable. But overall, I think this country, I think really wonderful. There's religious harmony. Wonderful. So please keep your sort of wonderful tradition. Respect all major religious tradition is your treasure. You must preserve that. I always is telling, whenever I give talk in the West, or Europe, or America, or Australia, or New Zealand, and Japan, and everywhere, when I sort of talk, I always stress religious harmony is very important. It is possible. Look, India is an example. 1,000 years religious harmony there. Beside homegrown different religion, from outside, Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, come here, settle, no problem. So that's greatness of India. You must realize that's something very unique, and you should feel proud, must preserve.
Thank you, Your Holiness, for the very kind words that you said about India. Questions from this side? Yes, ma'am. Could you please frame your questions short and sharp? Thank you.
Respected Holiness, I want to know what is the meaning of mindful meditation.
Not clear.
I would like to know what is mindfulness meditation.
Mindful meditation.
Yes, there is 37 practices. First, group for mindfulness. Mindfulness about body. That's actually analyze the nature of the body, and that reduce attachment your own body, and also impermanence. Although we roughly say my body now over 80 years, but detail, you see, or subtle level, particles 24 hours changing. And then obviously, when I was young, the full hair here. Now, this is sign of getting older, less hair, and also white hair here. There is some kind of competition. Some hair still try to remain black. Some hair here, they try to spread. So naturally, nobody say, you see, my today's body, when I was young, same body, nobody say that. So, mindfulness about body changing, that's impermanence. Impermanence, two levels. One grosser level of permanence, impermanence, as I mentioned. The subtle level of impermanence, that grosser level of permanence, because impermanence is possible because of momentarily changing. Atomic level, momentarily changing. Actually, I saw, with help of some scientists, with huge mission, an atom level always moving. So this body, atomic level, always moving, always changing. That is subtle level of impermanence. Then second mindfulness is feeling. Feeling. You see, some pleasant feeling develop attachment. Unpleasant feeling develop anger. So then concentrate. Feeling itself. Then the sort of feeling of too much attachment, too much sort of the aversion reduce. Then third mindfulness is mind, chit. Chit here means not sensorial level, but mental level. So, mental level, you see, impermanent, always changing. So then, if may I say so, now some differences. Most Hindus believe Atma is something separate entity from this body and mind. That's permanent, oneness, unchanging. Buddhism rejects that. No such Atma, but rather Anatma. So now analyze mind, always changing. So you can't find Atma in the mind. Then actually Buddhist philosophy says, like quantum physics, if you investigate, nothing findable right, from objectively. So finally, mere designation. So self designated on the combination of body and mind. Mind also, you see, cannot be basis of Atma because mind always changing. Atma not changing. So difficult. So therefore, this third mindfulness, you see, brings some idea of non-independent independent self or Atma. But those people who feel more comfortable believing Atma, and then it is up to you. You see, believe that. One time, one Bihari, one professor, so eventually, you see, he showed interest about Buddha Dharma. And then one day we discussed about these philosophical views. That I told him, no Atma. And she actually is shivering away, trembling. If there is no Atma, that's not what is there. What we are. then I told him, Anatma does not mean no self at all. Where? No. Self is there. But self, like 5 seconds, also changing. So now, for example, this body, according to quantum physics analyze, you can't find this physical, your body. But body is still there. It's working. Using quantum physics in denying existence of body is foolish. Nobody can deny. So Madhyamaka philosopher also, you see, nothing independently exists, but not denying these things. These things are reality. So one Tibetan master, about, I think, 10th century or 11th century, you see, he mentioned, according to the Shunyata theory, your hand also empty, fire also empty, the burning also empty. In spite that, if you touch fire, there is no other way except to burn, pain. So he mentioned that. So if you investigate, nothing find from objective. But it works. Still there. Like stomach, Paticca Samuppada nature. Food, also Paticca Samuppada. But the food fill your stomach, feel happy, comfortable. Isn't it? Like that. So therefore, like that, you see, anathema theory does not mean Buddhism, Madhyamaka philosophy does not accept existence of self. No, self is there. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. This side, somebody, yes, at the back, sir. 1 minute, please. 1 minute, please. People at the back should also get an opportunity.
Your Holiness.
We can't hear you.
The microphone not working properly.
Hello. Your Holiness.
Keep the mic a little closer, please.
Your Holiness, we are blessed to have you here. When you are mentioning about the quantum physics and the scientists, I would like to know, has ever any quantum physicist or scientist come to have Diksha from you?
Asa. Oh, I think like a normal scientist, our friendship is easily developed. Then eventually very close feeling. Then some kind of sort of seeking blessing for some mysterious sort of thing. That's I don't think. So actually, I want some sort of special meeting or dialogue with quantum physicist and from Buddhist side, mathematical philosopher. And also recently I met one quantum physicist. Then also I learned the observer and observatory. Observed object and observer. When observer there, object there. No longer observer, object no longer there. That also one Nalanda sort of thinker, you see, used this reason. Then they concluded no external things exist externally. External things are simply manifestation of mind. So that school of thought usually we call mind-only school of thought. Mathematical philosophy, there are two divisions. One, agree that. One, no. External things there, but mere designated. Internal things also there, mere designated. So, Pattit Samupan. Observer, observed object, interdependency.
Thank you. And then they believe
So I'm thinking now serious discussion with some quantum physicists, now possibly in Delhi.
they believe in cause and effect. And would it be applicable to the theory of karma? And was it that theory of karma that led to the eviction of the land of Tibet? Thank you.
Okay, sir. Karma diya. Yes. Karma means action. Verbal action, verbal karma. Physical action, physical karma. Mental action, mental karma. So karma means action. You should not think karma is something different, where something separate sort of entity. So some people, I think sometimes I jokingly telling, so lazy people, not working hard, then blame, due to my karma, my karma. That's wrong. Who creates karma? You yourself. Today, in the past, some bad karma. That means your bad action. Now, negative consequences about to come. But create good karma, good action. Then overwhelm, you see that bad karma's effect. So everything depends on yourself. So sometimes, you see, we Tibetan also, you see, remain quite relaxed, not much hard working, and then blame everything karma, karma, karma. That's a mistake. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir?
Now one lady. You. You are waiting.
After this, ma'am. After this question, please.
I think,
Hello.
I think it's the easy way. The microphone hold here. Then those people who have some question come in the center. Then easier. Oh, yes.
Those who've got questions, His
Ma'am,
Holiness said, please come in front.
Your
It's okay, it's
Holiness,
okay.
this side.
No, yes.
Yeah.
I think you come here,
All
please.
We'll have to wind up, so we'll just have 2 more questions.
No.
A bunch of questions.
More.
All right. Arunab Goswami style, time extended.
Your Holiness, you just mentioned that there are 400 million.
Louder.
You just mentioned that there are 400 million Buddhists in China.
Yes.
But there are no good teachers. It's just a numbers game. They don't know their religion. Real Buddhism.
There are Buddhist texts. Actually, Buddhism reached China, I think, before Buddhism reached Tibet. I think 2nd century, 3rd century, Buddhism already reached China. So a lot of translations there. But then proper teacher compared Tibetan, very few. Some today, some good teacher in China, in Chinese, they are teacher from Tibet, like that. Okay. Then many of these Chinese Buddhists now showing interest about Tibetan Buddhist tradition.
Next question, please.
Welcome to India, Your Holiness. The India that we grew up in and the India that you speak about, where spirituality showed Indian spirituality,
Louder.
Indian spirituality led the world, and Gandhian philosophy of non-violence was an example to the rest of the world. The India that I grew up in right now, or what I look around me, is a country where cows are valued more than women. If somebody's bleeding on the road, nobody helps them. Churches are burnt. Muslims are told to go back to their country. Nobody respects anybody. There's violence, there's racism, there's bigotry, there's inhumanity on the streets of India. This is the India of today. What hope is there for my generation, for the generations to come? This is not the India we learned about. This is not the India I want to grow up in. This is not the India I want my next generation to grow up in. It is not a leading light. It's not an example to the world. It is one of the lowest rated on the humanity index on the planet.
Now,
My father served in the armed forces, almost died fighting wars for this country, was a very proud patriotic Indian. Today you almost feel ashamed to be an Indian because this is what India is associated with. Violence, bigotry, intolerance, and complete disrespect.
but basically, I feel, as I mentioned earlier, still I think Indian at large, I think still the traditional value is still there.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Thank you.
You see some pockets here and there, some mischievous people. That's quite natural. As I mentioned earlier, 1.2 billion of population. Some mischievous people always there. But meantime, I think like you, now pay more serious attention. Make effort, to promote, to preserve your traditional values. That's very important. Some mischievous people deliberately creating something. And then ordinary people must make clear, this is not a traditional way. You have to work.
Yes, it's fine, ma'am. Let's ask the others. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this lady.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, His Holiness. I'm Vandana Shah. I just have a very short and sweet question. When will we have the next Dalai Lama, and can we have a woman as the Dalai Lama? That's all I want to know.
That's as early as, I think, 15, 20 years ago. In Paris, one women's magazine, one correspondent, one reporter of that magazine, interviewed me, and she asked me, in future, any female Dalai Lama possible? Then I immediately said, yes, very possible. If the circumstances is such, female Dalai Lama, more effective, then why not? Then I also, teasing, half teasing to her, if circumstances is such, one female Dalai Lama, not only female, but very attractive female.
So I hope I'll qualify if that happens.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, just 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir. Last 3 questions. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Your Holiness, I finished and grew up.
Sir, can you please make it short?
Your Holiness, I finished and completed my probation in the country of your origin. And my perception was that 1/3 of the population in the Himalayan borderlands is thinking of the world beyond. The world beyond.
Yes, sir.
And they were the most peaceful people on earth. They, throughout the 2 wars, they did not take part in the war because of the philosophy of Buddhism.
So what is your question, sir?
My question is that is that technique the only one of non-violence and people being allowed to lead the way in their life? That's all.
Yes, sir. I think Tibetan, I think more than 90% Tibetan are Buddhist, but there are many warriors also there.
Yes, sir. Second last question. Sir, please let the lady ask. Yes, ma'am, please.
No, sorry. Yeah. Very short question.
Yes. Old picture. Yes. Yes, my elder brother. Yes, my niece also here. Okay, he used to it. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen here, please,
Yes,
could you kindly move back a little? Please, I'll request you.
Now,
right, the last question, now the lady in yellow, please. Last question, the lady in yellow, please. Where's the mic?
one last question.
Last question.
Last question, yes.
This is a question not just from me. A whole lot of my friends and people I know. It's a very important question.
Karsa. What?
Yes, sir, 1 minute. Where's the mics?
Your Holiness,
Yes.
a lot of people have asked this question. It's just part of
Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly sit down. Please, I'll request you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, the center here, please, can you kindly go back to your chairs?
Can we just finish asking the questions?
Kindly go back to your chairs. Ladies and gentlemen here, please,
Your Holiness,
kindly move back to your chairs.
you made a very important discovery.
Just a minute, please. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we bring this interactive session to a close, I will request Mr. Vijay Chibber, IES, who is our president, to give a vote of thanks. Today's program, insofar as His Holiness is concerned, question answers are closed. Please get back to your chairs. It's a request.
After this, please sit down.
Yes.
Can I please request all members to please take their seats? Please take your seat, ma'am. Please take your seat, ma'am.
Okay. I can sign.
Ma'am, we can do this after. We can do this after.
I a few. Okay. Now, yes. You start.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. The President is going to give his closing address and then we'll give you all the time to be able to do it. Thank you.
These are the last
Now. Stage.
Well,
Now, sorry.
Friends, please sit down. Friends, please sit down. This session is over. Please sit down. Please take your... Please sit down. Please sit down.
No time.
Please sit down.
No time.
Please sit down.
Okay. Sorry.
Most respected His Holiness the Dalai Lama, General Oban, ladies and gentlemen, I am sure that I speak for all present when I say that we are specially privileged to be blessed with the gracious presence of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He is not only a spiritual leader of Tibet, but in fact is also recognized as the conscience keeper of the modern world order. He has undoubtedly played his manifest destiny in preserving and protecting the unique features of Tibetan society. On the way, he has gradually but deliberately helped in the evolution of Tibetan society towards democracy and modernization. This process he started in 1963 when His Holiness presented a draft democratic constitution for Tibet. This was followed up with several reforms to democratize the Tibetan administration setup. The Charter of Tibetans in Exile enshrines all basic features of modern society: freedom of speech, belief, assembly, and movement, with a special respect for those living in exile. In September 2001, under the guidance of His Holiness, the Tibetan electorate directly elected the Kalo Tripa for the first time in history. And with this, His Holiness ended the tradition of the Dalai Lama being both the temporal as also the spiritual authority. This process concluded in May 2011 when he formally transferred his temporal powers to a democratically elected leader. While the shift of His Holiness from Lhasa to India in 1959 was primarily aimed at securing for his people their unique identity, culture, and destiny, it also proved an immense blessing for the rest of mankind, and particularly so for those of us in India. His Holiness has contributed in no small measure to our enduring tradition of peaceful coexistence. His Holiness is a man of peace and, like Mahatma Gandhi, espouses non-violence and was therefore rightly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989. Very early, he has expressed his concern for global environment issues, one of the major challenges facing mankind today. His special contribution to human civilization is reflected in the numerous awards, honorary doctorates, prizes bestowed upon him. He has also co-authored several dozens of books, which are a treasure bestowed to future generations. In today's discourse, he touched upon the reality of attachment and anger and spoke about goodness with a social and scientific temper. He emphasized on moral science and moral ethics as part of this scientific studies. He emphasized on the power of love and compassion or inner values leading to friendship and hence happiness. I personally believe that the foremost amongst his contributions to current human civilization is his active promotion of interreligious harmony and understanding, or simply put, in his words, secular character. This, I believe, is one of his most lasting contributions, and we owe, as a civilization, a lot to this. In an increasingly intolerant world order, he stands tall as one of the most visible and rational world leaders, espousing the cause of interreligious tolerance and respect for all religions, irrespective of denomination. In his very quiet way, he did say that the Tibetan people were chelas of the Indian society. But I think somewhere along the line, we lost our way, Your Holiness, and we look forward now as your chelas to rediscover ourselves in whatever manner that is possible. We therefore thank you for this opportunity for a reunion. Individuals such as His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, do not come very often. He is a very special gift to our human race, and we in the Delhi GymKhana Club feel specially blessed and honored and thank him for speaking to the congregation. Before I request His Holiness to receive a memento on behalf of all the members, may I request all members to rise and give a standing ovation to His Holiness.
So